Hey guys, we're going to begin our weekly show and tell session. Welcome once again. I'm your host, Michael Fisher. This is an ongoing part of our Fear into Fuel webinar series here at Fashion Snoops. So many of you have been joining us each and every Wednesday since this all began. So we're so excited to see you back again. And of course, for everyone who's new, welcome to our show and tell. For those of you that don't know what show and tell is, this is traditionally an internal meeting that we do amongst our creative team every other week in our New York City headquarters. It's a chance for the entire creative team to share what's inspiring them, what's on our zeitgeist. Often, in addition to just being beautiful eye candy to inspire us, it will lead and does become a catalyst for many cultural macro trends and forecasts yet to come at FS. So it really does serve a beautiful purpose. For your purpose, we really just hope that this is a really good kind of respite for your week, that you can kind of sit back and be inspired and relax and really just kind of take from this a lot of amazing, beautiful things that are still being created in the world. And that is our hope for you. So we're going to do that for the next hour. Before we jump into all of that, for those of you who are not familiar with what we do at Fashion Snoops, we are a global trend forecasting agency. We do help leading consumer-facing brands around the world unblock innovation and propel their growth. Our team of researchers and experts and editors layer human insight over data and analysis so that our clients can better align their future business strategies. So before we dive into today's show and tell and all of our links that our editors are going to share, I want to introduce our marketing manager, Sarah, who's going to tell you a bit more about the rest of this week's webinars and beyond. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Michael. Thanks so much. It's great seeing some familiar and new names today on our 29th webinar as part of this series. Thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you will also join us tomorrow and Friday. On Friday, we'll be holding another Q&A session with our FS editors, many of whom you will hear from today. We've gotten so many amazing questions during the past 28 webinars, so our editors are going to come together once again to address some of those questions and help you through this moment of uncertainty. Now on Thursday, our webinar is going to be for our FS clients only. FS clients, you may have noticed our new COVID-19 Insights section on the FS platform and our new Act Now Priorities report. Tomorrow, the team behind the content is going to walk you through the report and provide additional insights gleaned from the research and preparation they did. We will be holding these webinars for clients for several of the reports in our Thrive Guide series, so please be on the lookout for emails and to register. And if you're not a client, but you are interested in learning more about our trend forecasting services or these webinars, please type contact in the chat box and we'll follow up with you. I'll be sharing a little bit more about our COVID-19 Insights section later during the webinar, but for now, I'll pass it back to Michael.
Great, thank you, Sarah. So I am going to just stop down for 1 second so I can get our links up for today. Bear with me. Okay, great. So first up today, we have Chelsea from New York City. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey guys, Chelsea here. I am a youth and accessories editor coming to you from Brooklyn. So I say this every time, but the M train is being particularly loud today. So if it happens, I'm so sorry. But this link here is my Vino. So this is a wine company that I came across this week. So I linked the crowdfunding page because I thought it had a lot of great information, but they reached their goal and they are actually producing now. But so the creator, My Vu, she went to some vineyards on the West Coast, some really small vineyards, and she learned that because they're smaller operations, it's harder for them to have long-term contracts. So unfortunately, a lot of their grapes either rot on the vine or they create wine that will never be sold. So she wanted to try and find a way to like alleviate that waste. So she went in and invested in a bunch of grapes from a bunch of small vineyards. So that's her, they're so cute. And so by investing in these grapes, they then can sell the wine to her, the grapes to her for a lower price. So she created My Vino. They come in these little plastic pouches. So each pouch holds 2 bottles of wine. And because of the airtight seal, they stay good for 30 days. So they are only selling to New York City right now. I ordered some and it's lovely. It tastes very good because they are very high quality grapes, regardless of the price. And then the thing that I found interesting about these is they are in a plastic pouch, which normally we think plastic is not very sustainable or good for the environment. But it's actually, these pouches eliminate 80% of the carbon emissions in the process, because in a glass bottle, the glass takes up 32% of the total product weight. And so shipping the glass bottles uses a lot of carbon emissions, and they take up more space, so you can't ship as many. But within these pouches, the pouch only takes up about 2% of the total product weight. So even though it's plastic, it is helping with sustainability because of the carbon emissions. So yeah, you can see here. But I thought that was really interesting, because I think when we think about sustainability, we have these ideas in our head of what is sustainable and what isn't. And plastic usually is not something that we think, but it is actually helping the environment in that way. So like I said, they're only available in New York right now, but I hope that they will grow, because I think it's a really cute idea. The packaging is really well done. It came with a handwritten note. So I think the experience, the brand experience is great. So I hope that they grow. And I thought it was a really fun thing that I found this week.
I love this. And I did see this on your Instagram stories the other day, so I was very intrigued. But it is really interesting because I think, I've been buying some really amazing box wine recently too, which is so much better and sustainable because you're getting 4 bottles of wine in one. And there's, these are the pouch wines as well. And I think there used to be such a stigma around all of these very non-traditional ways to consume wine. But now we're seeing that it's so great.
Yeah. And it's really good quality. It tastes lovely. So highly recommend.
Awesome. All right, and you put the website there for everyone as well. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Okay, next up is Erza. Hi, Erza.
Hi, everyone. This is Erza. I'm a culture editor. So my first link, I stumbled upon this the other day. It's called Remind Me What Matters. And this company has beautiful postcards. And what's the idea behind this whole thing is to send your future self a postcard. It's a nice reminder of how we're feeling at this time, and I think now would be a great time to do this. You can even send it to your friends. And in addition, this card is only $1, and you select which charity you'd like it to go to. So I really think it's a win-win and a brilliant idea. And the postcards are nice too.
Super cute. I love how people are really getting, kind of hip to postcards again. I feel like it's something that's been very absent from our culture for so many years, and now I feel like there's restaurants where you have to make reservations by sending a postcard, and it's just becoming very romantic again, so it's really nice.
I love it.
Okay.
And my second link, it's called Pure Taste by Carlo Ratti, and the company has prototyped a wardrobe purifier that uses ozone to remove bacteria and viruses from clothes within the hour. We've been looking at innovative ways to sanitize our clothing, and I really love this idea. I could see it in dressing rooms as well as our personal closets. And in addition to protection, the company hopes something like this could reduce our consumption of water when washing clothes.
This is super cool. And I also think another great way to use this would be hotels, just from traveling and coming from the airports, and we can kind of be able to put our clothes in here and feel sure that we're getting rid of any bacteria that we've carried with us. So
Definitely.
Really awesome innovation. Awesome. Thanks, Erza.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay, are you there?
Okay, am I here?
Yeah, there you are. Hi.
Great. Okay, so my first one is about how high schoolers are dealing with their senior years ending early. And since a lot of them won't be able to complete their yearbooks, they've moved them to Instagram. And it shows what colleges they're going to, because a lot of schools have college day where you wear your shirt. And so I've linked to the right of this a couple of the Instagrams that you can visit. And a lot of the kids get to make their own. And so some have written really funny things like, my favorite memory was eating 6 slices of pizza in one lunch break, and then other silly things that remind you of high school. So it's really cute to see. And I think that this is interesting because I want to see the apps that are going to come out of these things, of how people can monetize yearbooks and proms and all those things.
This is so sweet. I saw a story this morning on the news about a principal, I believe he was in Texas, and he took the time to personally go and visit every single graduating senior from his school, which was a big class. I want to say it was close to 500 students. So over the course of so many days, he literally went to every single one of them so that he could visit with them 6 feet away and give them props. And it was really sweet. Put a sign in their yard. So really nice.
Okay, my next link, if you want to head over. This is actually an app created by a girl I went to high school with. Her brother has ADD and autism, so it's really difficult for him to make friends. So she created an app called Making Authentic Friendships, and it's about finding people in your area with similar special needs. And it's very simple of finding what you guys have in common, and I think this could be great right now if you know people with special needs and they feel extra lonely because they can't be going to their usual activities. So I want to share this just so you guys can send it along and help people too.
It's really great.
And she's getting a lot of coverage on the news, and it's really great to see that people are becoming more aware.
Yeah, just another way for people to be connected from afar. It's so great.
And this is actually just posted a couple hours ago about how the Dutch have created all these new slang terms. If you go down, there's a section, and we've been using a lot of, I think, like Swedish terms because they have these words that say things that we don't have just words for in English. So it's cool to see. I can't speak Dutch, but maybe some of you can. And they're really funny and kind of like interesting to see what slang is going to come from this. And also, I think it's going to be cool to see what like the word of the year is by the end of this. I'm guessing it's going to be something with the pandemic. But.
For sure. The Dutch have such a really great sense of humor. So I love to see these like street.
Yeah, Corona jerk,
yeah.
dehorning.
Very sharp sense of humor. So it's good.
Okay, the next is this concert suit that was just put out by some LA rave goers. And if you go down, it's a prototype, but it has really interesting features. Like one is that you can mute the outside world. And so I think you can have like headphones in at the rave and then you could just shut everyone out. And it even has a drinking mechanism that no one can mess with your drink. So it's going to be interesting to see. And we don't have to watch the video, but if you go to the link next to it, Germany has started doing raves, but drive-in raves. And I'd actually recommend watching the video post this because the way that they party is by like honking on the horn. So it's just really loud and kind of ridiculous, but a lot of fun in the same way.
Yeah, I saw this the other day. Jenna, actually, this is the link that I tried to send to you that expired on Instagram. I just remembered. But yeah, this is so interesting hearing all of these horns during with the DJ. So funny.
Yeah, and I think that prototype, we're going to be seeing a lot more of how we can get back to our normalcy in concerts and stuff. And this final one is an interior design company charging $50 an hour for them to decorate your Animal Crossing home. And so we've been seeing luxury fashion within the digital world, and now we're able to see how it's going to fit within our interior design sections.
Wow.
So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. I think it'll be like a flex for people. They can post on Instagram, like I had this interior designer do my Animal Crossing, things like that.
It's great. I would venture to say that Animal Crossing has come up more in the last few weeks of show and tell than any other app or brand. So that's great. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Now we're going to move on to Patricia.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia, editor for Women's Wear. And my first link is something that I know we've all been waiting for, but obviously has been postponed. It is the new exhibition at the Costume Institute at the Met. And Vogue just published a few videos and a few photos from behind the scenes. So this exhibition is called About Time, Fashion, and Duration. And it really shows how fashion has changed in the last 150 years and how it has actually stayed the same. So the way that they're doing it, they're laying garments from different time periods side by side. So you can see, if you scroll down, a 18th century embroidered jacket juxtaposed with a 2018 Louis Vuitton blouse. There's also a dress with a bustle juxtaposed with a Yohji Yamamoto ensemble from 1986. And then my favorite is the last image, which is a 1895 dress by Mr. Arnold juxtaposed with a Alexander McQueen dress from 2020. So I thought it was really interesting to see the linear and also cyclical nature of clothing. And the curator of the exhibition, who's of course Andrew Bolton, has said that this is a meditation on fashion and temporality. So I thought that was really cool and something to look forward to. It opens on October 29.
So good. And for those of you that aren't aware, of course, the main inspiration for the exhibition was Virginia Woolf. And here at FS, I think we had a visionary about time travel and whatnot a couple of years ago. And that was actually one of our starting points of inspiration for that season. So that particular piece of literature has actually been on our radars for a long time. So it was super cool to see an exhibition kind of built solely around that.
So my second link is something that I thought was really cool because we've been having so many conversations about the touch crisis and how people are really craving touch, especially in times like now. And we've also been talking about wearable technology. So I think this project really brings them both together. So it's a project by StudioTatum, and it is a fingernail mounted device designed to introduce the sense of touch to audiovisual interactions, such as video calls and online gaming. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it kind of explains how it's done. So basically it creates tactile experiences of textures from 2D images. And one of the things that the creator has said, which I thought was really interesting, is that currently digital experiences are focused on audiovisual, while other human senses are neglected. And touch is in fact the most important sense for creating trust and empathy. So a really cool project, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be seeing more and more innovations on that front.
Very, very interesting. And it's very pretty too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Patricia. Now, Jenna. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Garasio. I'm the Director of Content Strategy here at Fashion Snoops. First of all, I love that AR experience that you just walked through, Patricia. I think that's beautiful. But anyways, so I have a couple links today. The first is one I'm not very comfortable with, and I don't know how I feel about, but I wanted to share. I know that last week, Cara shared this idea of AI mixing in a way where you can kind of create your own friends through that app. And I came across this new project called Jukebox. So this is a project with that was created by OpenAI, which is a research lab based in San Francisco. And basically what they've created, and obviously things like this have existed before, but it's AI generated music. So this concept is that they take kind of different genres, they've analyzed all these different kind of artistic styles, and then with the ability to actually like make and create these songs that don't exist and no one's actually writing or doing anything with. So they just launched this and they're making it the code available for anyone. So anyone can kind of play around and generate their own music. But I think it's interesting just in general, this idea, I know we talk a lot about it as a team, of what is art in this era of technology and digitalization. I know that, I mean, there's been conversation about what is music when it comes to anything when people started using technology and DJing rather than playing physical instruments. So I think, I don't know really how I feel about it, but I think it's interesting. And I think it'll be interesting also to see, because this is open source and anyone can use the code right now, what will come out of this time, especially as we're all kind of home and looking for creative outlets.
Yeah, it brings up a lot of very strong opinions. It's kind of like, you know, the Whitney Houston hologram tour that was going on before COVID broke out. It's like, gives you a little bit of nostalgia that maybe never existed, but also you're wondering, are you stepping on these amazingly iconic people's toes?
Yeah. So my next link is this 3D artist that I've been obsessed with for a little while. Her name is Anez Alpha. She used to work in advertising. She left advertising, became really obsessed with the idea of 3D renderings, and with a focus on kind of how she could make 3D renderings that make you feel uncomfortable and question reality. And since then, she's been working with a lot of different, she's really gone into beauty and makeup. So she's been working with a lot of different brands. I think she worked with H&M. She's done collaborations with Pucci. She worked with Dior makeup, but I love kind of her whole concept of bringing not only VR, but AR into the everyday. And what she's been doing recently is she's been developing all these really interesting, beautiful, stunning virtual masks that basically, if you follow her on Instagram, you get access to all of her different filters. So those ones currently aren't available right now, but I think they will be in the next week or so. But right now they're just renderings to showcase her artwork. But I just love these ideas as we're looking at this idea of protection, and we're talking about face masks and what the evolution of that is. I think it's interesting to focus on these things from a point of expression. And when you're looking at things, obviously this virtual mask is not going to protect you from anything, but this focus around faces and protection and how it's kind of infusing this new range of exploration is really beautiful. And then I just loved this and wanted to share for anyone who wanted to participate. I did one of these yesterday. But as we're seeing a lot of kind of innovations come up to help and support the elderly that are not only being affected health-wise, but also emotional-wise, as they're not able to really engage or interact with other people outside of their homes or their retirement communities. This company started up so that you can write letters to the elderly. They've already sent to 500 different people in 4 different countries. So it's just kind of starting out right now, but they're working with a lot of different nursing homes. But I love this idea of just the barrier to entry being so low and easy for all of us to just kind of connect with those who maybe aren't having those connections right now and just being there for those people. So I love this idea.
I love this. This goes nicely with the postcards.
Yeah,
sure.
totally. And then lastly, some of you may have read about this. This just came out a couple days ago. Thought it was really interesting. Wanted to highlight that these scientists out of Hong Kong have actually been working on this antiviral surface protector for, I think, the last 10 years. So it's not something that was being developed specifically for COVID, but obviously is very important right now. But basically, they've developed this antiviral coating that can protect surfaces for up to 90 days. And the great thing about this also is it's non-toxic, so it's not this idea of putting toxins into the environment. But what will be great is this idea of being able to apply this spray onto surfaces that are in public spaces like elevator buttons and handrails. So obviously came at a very good time that they were able to finish this, the production and the testing. So they're trying to roll this out right now in Hong Kong, but obviously a lot of different countries are coming together to see how they can utilize this as well. So just a nice scientific innovation that's come out recently, I wanted to highlight.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to present my links. I'm Michael. I'm the VP of Menswear. So last week, Chelsea ended our show and tell talking a little bit about like small stores that are kind of doing things for personalized customer service. This came on my radar just because I saw it on Twitter. And I just thought something about it. It's very simple, but I really liked the charm behind it. This bodega in Philadelphia, they decided that they would kind of approach their customer service from a very 19th century kind of way. So they took photos of everything that's in their store, and you walk up to the window and you're able to, you know, confidently order what you need, your provisions, your snacks and whatnot. But I just thought something about it was just really clever that they took the time to put all of these products together. You know, there's all of your breakfast things, your salad dressings, your boxed cakes. And I just thought it was really cute and really clever. And it reminded me kind of like, you know, ice cream trucks and whatnot. So I thought that was just super cute and wanted to share it. Gave me a little laugh. My next link is really diving into what some of the retailers are laying out as far as their plans for the coming months ahead. If you've joined some of our other webinars, you've heard us speak a lot about what the future of brick and mortar will look like from a cleanliness standpoint. Suit Supply is a amazing retailer that, of course, in menswear we follow constantly. They're one of the biggest tailored clothing, brands in the world. So they've already kind of launched. They've come up with this really interesting partition, if you will, that will still allow your tailor to work with you when you are able to get back into the store without really creating anything, that's uncomfortable or obtrusive. It protects both the customer and the tailor. I thought that was really clever. They also speak in the articles about other things that they're doing. Customers can actually log onto their site right now and actually do a guided personal shopping video session with one of the tailors. So you can go through with their help, pull things aside so that when the stores do open, they'll be there waiting for you. I thought this was just a really good step beyond just like being able to chat with someone. You actually have your customer service person there that's actually, virtually shopping with you, suggesting things. So just been looking for a lot of what brands are going to start implementing when they open back up again, because of course there will be a completely new normal. So wanted to share that. My next link is really also about the Met Gala and just built upon what Patricia shared. The New York Times, Vanessa Frieden there wrote a really awesome article about young people age 15 to 22 that basically created their own Met Gala online. And it all took place Monday, when the Met Gala was supposed to have taken place. But of course, for those of you that know, that are on Twitter, HFT is high fashion Twitter. It's kind of a subculture on Twitter. So these kids that are part of HFT wanted to do their own Met Gala. So this really awesome young woman, she basically had people apply to be curators with her for this event. And it took place all day on Monday for 24 hours. And basically, you had to apply and you created your own kind of Met Gala mood boards. And you even wore your own kind of outfit at home. There was a huge focus on sustainability, but it's super clever. You can read through this article on your own just to see what some of these really talented budding designers and merchandisers decided to do. Here's kind of the invite that went out on Twitter, but really, really clever and really, really fun. And we're just loving how creative people are trying to find new and interesting ways to do very time-honored events such as the Met Gala. They actually, one interesting thing is there were certain brands that were not allowed to be represented if you were going to make a mood board. And those are brands that are guilty of cultural appropriation. So you were not allowed to use those brands if you were going to make a mood board. So read through that article. It's really clever. My next article is another New York Times article about how we are going full out Victorian and 1800s. I think this is just a really great confirmation of things that we've all been sharing during show and tell for the last few weeks. But obviously, because we are trying to cut down on screen time in our homes, a lot of people are pursuing kind of old-timey crafts of a bygone era. We're looking at things like, fern collecting, flower pressing, scrapbooking, board games, playing chamber music with instruments that you create on your own. And I thought that was really cool. And you can kind of read through here and see different examples of what people are doing. The New York Times does talk about how in the 19th century, there were intellectuals who basically wanted to expand on the positive psychological benefits associated with a concept now known as mastery. So that's just practicing an activity at which you have no previous level of expertise, and then you become kind of an expert on that over time. So that's what people are doing. And this goes really nicely with all of the seed planting that we've been seeing. There's a woman here in the article that's been doing cool things with dyeing her own garments at home. There's a picture of that. So just really, really cool how we're bringing back that kind of 19th century approach of at-home leisure. I really love that. And a really good segue into that is an awesome essay by Box. You can read through it. It's really long, but it's basically about novel frugality. It's a really good article. It made me understand and appreciate a lot of things just because, America specifically, I know a lot of us aren't in America, but many of us who are, it's always been this very kind of approach at consumerism and consumption. And we've just always kind of consumed things and then disposed of them. And going through COVID-19, not having as much access to things, has really made us kind of rethink what frugality means, whether that's reusing a plastic baggie multiple times, saving your glass jars, regrowing your scallions. I've seen a lot of my friends on Instagram doing that. So it's a great essay for those of you that are interested in consumer behavior. You can read it because we do share all of these links to you after today's show and tell it's complete. But it'll give you good food for thought about what frugality will mean in the coming months and years ahead. And then my final link today is just a really awesome Fast Company article about smart generosity. We know that we are very much conscious of this at FS, and I'm sure many of you that are on the call today are also. So COVID-19 is sparking a new era of what's called smart generosity. They give you 4 ways in this article to basically make sure that these are symptoms or these are things that you're doing to be part of smart generosity. Those include putting your employees first, responding with creativity and innovation. That's been super important, obviously, for the last 2 months. Collaborating with others. I think many of you that joined our trade show webinar a couple of weeks ago, you know that all of these competing brands are starting to realize that it's all about camaraderie, not competition. So that's also something that's very important. And then finally, you're evolving with your own purpose. And I think it's really important. So they say when society eventually begins to normalize, the concept of purpose is not going to be forever changed. So we're going to have to make sure that we are providing a safety net to everyone that has something to do with our process, whether that's personally or professionally. So really great article that Fast Company wrote and something that you should be aware of if you are in a leadership role at your own company. All right, those are my links. So next up is Pooja. Hi, Pooja.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. My name is Pooja Khandelwal, and I am the Content Strategy Manager here at FS. Today, I'm sharing this link about Dana Weiss. She's a Canadian writer and visual artist who dreamed up a fictional pharmaceutical company called Jesus Had a Sister Productions. This is an imaginary company that specializes in quick fix medicines for literally everything. From making your own bed to becoming the best-selling writer or to just figure out the meaning of life, she seems to have a remedy for everything packed together in series of pills, injections, and sprays. And in an interview, she mentioned that it all started when she was visiting Paris. She was extremely surprised to find that at least 3 pharmacies were there, present in every street over there. She also saw a lot of unopened medicine packages on the sidewalk and started to wonder what they could actually be. Her imagination then went rolling from there, and she launched this project with a tagline that says, "Helping you create your own reality since 1786. It's satirical with a mix of sarcasm and humor, and its aim is to make us question our reality. And I like how she relates this back to the American advertising from the 1960s. So if you look at the top of the packages, there's a cardboard that specifies the purpose of that medicine, and the way she has presented it is it's nostalgic to the American advertising. It's fun, it's interesting to read through all her remedies. You'll see that she actually literally has a solution for every problem that you can think of. And yeah, it's a good break from what you do to just take a break and read through this.
Yeah, and of course, most of it is satire. So, you know, even the darker ones. So, but I do especially love the one about turning your mom into the world's biggest Nickelback fan. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, they are all super funny, for sure.
Thanks so much, Pooja.
Thank you.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Moylan, VP of Women's at FS. The first link that I have to share, it's actually, we could just scroll through it and I'll tell you about it. We're not going to watch it. It's a 10-minute little documentary that Vice did. And this is known as the last festival on Earth. There was a festival called Tribal Gathering in Panama, and it happened right before and as COVID was kind of taking over. So everybody was at this festival. It was like this temporary paradise. It's actually fascinating. I never heard about it before, but you learn from the indigenous community, something that we've been talking about in our forecast for this past season. And it's about living in symbiosis with the earth. But then, of course, COVID started to lock down many countries, and so the people that were there were actually locked down after the festival. They were asked to stay if they were in the country for less than 14 days, and it became this horrible situation where they had people work to earn food. They weren't able to escape. Since then, of course, they stopped the quarantine, so people were able to get out, but they also relied a lot on their embassies to help them get back to their countries. So I just thought it was an interesting thing. When I started watching it, I was like, wait, is this Fire Festival? But it actually happened. And I think it'll cause us, we don't know what the future of festivals are, but it will, kind of bring to question how we're going to handle quantities of people and like in situations if something like this should happen again.
Well, according to Lindsay, we'll be wearing those costumes.
Yes. The next link that I have to share, I thought this was fascinating. Obviously, as forecasters, we love color. And so this is a pigment collection, and it's in Harvard University. They have over 2,700 pigments. Most of them are in these tiny little vials. We could just kind of scroll through to see what it looks like. And I was fascinated by where the pigment comes from. Like, they have things like Egyptian mummies, beetles. One of the things that they thought was super fascinating was a bowl of what they call Indian yellow, which is actually made of the dried urine of cows that fed exclusively on mango leaves. So I thought that it was really fascinating the way that people use this. It's a lot of conservation scientists, and they use it for reference. They also decide to grow their collections based on different curatorial programs that some museums are running. So, for example, when there was a focus on Japanese exhibits, they kind of like went there to pull new pigments. They also have Vanta Black, which we know is one of the darkest man-made materials, which absorbs almost all light. So the way when you look at it, the human eye can't actually see the surface. So I just thought it was fascinating. They do, I believe it's, it's kind of an exclusive thing, but you are able to get like an individual tour. Maybe one day we'll go back to that.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I love how they speak about how color is such an essential foundation to humanity. You can't take it for granted. It's like, it's everything.
Right. And I just loved like how they get the color from like these tiny things that you would never think, would be a source of inspiration.
Yeah.
So the next one addresses Karen Reitfeld. Of course, she was the editor-in-chief of French Vogue. Now she has CR Fashion Book, and she held, we could just kind of scroll through the photos. So she held CR Runway Fashion Unites. It was a fundraiser for AMFAR to fight COVID-19. And so what she did was compose kind of like everybody who's anybody in the luxury fashion realm, from Alexander Wang, Diane von Furstenberg, Virgil Abloh, Olivia Roosting, to top models Carly Kloss, Stella Maxwell, and everybody was, of course, at home. So you had the models, they chose outfits from their own wardrobe. Obviously, they're really great things. And then you had a couple of makeup and like nail people on there telling them what the inspiration is, what they're going for. And they did a fashion show through everybody's kitchen, living room, garden, you name it. And I just thought it was interesting. They had about 6,000 viewers at any time. It was just kind of a light-hearted type of thing, but it also made me think, how we don't have a solution. We don't know what Fashion Week for women's will look like going forward. Will it be something that, we ship the collections to designers in their homes and then we, kind of improvise with them in their own surroundings? I think a lot of people are also like captivated by where all of the models are. So that's, just something to think about, but it was a nice, fun, lighthearted way to approach it.
Yeah, this is awesome. And for those of you that saw the headlines this morning, the organizing board for Milan Fashion Week has announced they are going to officially do a digital fashion week in July. It will be in addition to the combined women's and men's fashion week that they plan to do in September. This is on the hills of London, also doing a similar event for menswear in June. So a lot of cities are definitely trying to experiment with what digital fashion presentations will look like. So it'll be very interesting in the months ahead to kind of see how those manifest. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks.
All right, Hallie.
Hi everyone, I'm Hallie. I'm the director of accessories at FS. There's a motorcycle right outside my window. So, okay, it's gone. So this first link, it's kind of another dose of escapism. It's done by, so these are all 3D digital renderings done by the studio called Child Studio. They partnered with a skincare brand, Plenaire. So they're kind of envisioning these really idyllic holiday vignettes, but using like the 3D digital renderings, which they look so real. But what I loved about it is that these, like the studio and the brand were working together already. They were trying to concept an idea for the skincare brand store opening in London, but obviously because of the stay-at-home orders, they were kind of worried about the feasibility and then just the future of in-person stores and in-person retail in general. But they still wanted to kind of continue this collaboration and bring something to life. So they created these digital renderings, and you have like product placement in there. You can see like the skincare in the back, like on the shelves and stuff. But I love that they decided to like take everything that was going to be in person and bring it online to kind of give the same kind of immersive feeling of being in a transformative space. But I also love that like we shared a lot of digital renderings, and I feel like it can be kind of like, they're kind of like weird looking and they like oddly satisfying in a way, like a term that we've always using, but these are so real and soft and like comforting, which I just love the creativity, like the vastness of digital creation. So I thought they're really beautiful. The colors are so inspiring, and yeah, it's just a great eye candy.
Yeah, these are gorgeous. They almost look like photo placed on canvas. You know, they kind of have that soft sensibility about them. So yeah. Beautiful. The lighting is perfect.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Hallie. All right, and our amazing founder and chief creative officer, Lily Barelovich.
Hi guys. First of all, I just want to say we've missed you guys. I know we kind of slowed the webinars down a bit to less a week, but it's really nice to see all of you here. I also want to shout out to some Sveti who joined us and commented in the chat that she wants us to keep these going after COVID passes. So we hear you and we love them as well, and we'll see how we can keep these going and keep inviting you guys for as long as we can. So 2 links today. So first one is I wanted to share this new social platform that is emerging. I know a lot of my friends from Europe are starting to talk about it. I'm hearing more and more about it. It's a private social network that was actually created by some of the early founders of the other social networks that we're currently using. This whole network will be about obviously protection and keeping yourself and your information private. It's a subscription-based platform, meaning you will pay some sort of a fee. I didn't dig in enough to find out. I think it's probably, it might be free for some, and maybe bigger organizations will pay a fee. The whole idea behind this is, private. It's not being sold to anyone. The information is not, they're not pushing any ads your way. Especially now, I think it's going to be even more interesting after this moment, because I think we're all witnessing posts being removed on Facebook and other places, and really kind of this big brother that's guiding us into what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to share. And I think people are really kind of tired of having so much being controlled by these social networks. So as much as we love them and they're part of our life, we are concerned about privacy. And I think it's interesting to see some of these newer, more protected social networks starting to pop up. So it'll be nice to monitor them and see how they take off. I'm sure it's going to be very difficult to move over the billions of people that have joined the regular social networks, but we'll see what happens there. We'll keep tracking. My next one is, I've heard a lot about Ocean Vuong, but I never dug in to really hear more about him. For all of you that don't know, he's an author and a poet. He wrote, I think most recently, this book called On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. And I just heard a beautiful podcast. I know that many of you know that I'm a fan of podcasts, and a big fan of the On Being podcast with Krista Tippett. And she just did a gorgeous interview with him. I listened to it over the weekend, and I literally had to stop because it brought me to my knees. I started to bawl, cry hysterically, just because he was sharing so emotionally. So I recommend listening to this. He is a young author. I think he graduated from NYU. He's now an assistant professor in a university. He's gotten more awards than some people who have been writing for years. What I loved about, he's a first generation immigrant family from Vietnam. He says, a product of war, because his grandmother fell in love with a soldier, and of course his mother was born out of that relationship. He talks a lot about how much his pain actually shapes what he writes and how he writes. He's introducing, when people describe him, and I went on to the rabbit hole of hearing every interview done with him in the past few years, but when people describe him, he's really redefining writing, and the way he's redefining, he's mixing poetry into regular storytelling. He is really in tune with words and what words mean, the sequence of words. And even I loved what he said in the interview, and you could hear, like, when he's answering the questions, he's lowering his voice. And there was a part where he says, I was taught by my mother that when you come into the house, you take off your shoes. So when I speak, I also take off my shoes, and kind of the symbology of that. And for me, I've really been, a fan of wording and how you say things to really create meaning or deeper meaning. He really, also the speed of things and how quickly we speak matters. And in the interview, he talks about how Whitney Houston was his inspiration for how he reads poem, and how she was able to kind of sequence her sound to really bring us up to this climax and then bring us down again, and the pauses between the words and how important those are. And then the moment he shares about his mother when he got an award, and she doesn't speak any English. A lot of his family is illiterate. He only started to read and write at age 11. And when he shares that his mother came to witness him getting an award, and she was so emotional and just caught up in tears, and he couldn't understand what it means to her, like why she didn't understand one word and why was she so emotional. And then he shares that the next day she had a nail salon, and he saw her on her knees, just bowing down in front of a white woman, and not being at eye level. And he finally got it. We're like, oh wow, she got to witness her son being honored by these people and women and men who usually are, above eye level of her. So I was just like, it's making me emotional now thinking about it, but just how pain can really mold us in good ways as well. So I think we're all having a difficult moment right now. I'm obviously first generation, also, from an immigrant family, and pain sometimes is just such a beautiful element to craft who we are. So I encourage you to listen to him. I downloaded his book, and I'm a fan already, and I think he's gonna have a lot to teach us in the next few years.
Awesome, so beautiful. Everyone knows we're heart-led here, so this is the perfect confirmation of that. So thank you, Lily. Mallory.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Mallory. I'm a beauty editor here at Fashion Snoops, and this is actually a nice little companion link to Hallie's links about this kind of natural escapism. This is a common thread within the digital art space that I've been loving recently. We highlighted this in our latest fall/winter 21-22 beauty shift, but I feel like it's really relevant right now and really resonating with me and a bunch of comments I see in these posts on Instagram, because I feel like we all need this kind of natural digital escapism. There's this common theme of art and nature kind of blending. These visuals create a virtual space for kind of a mental vacation. There's enough of the familiar in them that you can imagine yourself within the scene, and yet it's so serene and beautiful and picturesque that you're instantly transported. So it's a really interesting convergence of mental health and art at the same time that I love. I also think that is a great way for brands to, reposting one of these beautiful, tranquil scenes is a way to really help your viewers and your followers like escape mentally. And it's just such a small thing that I think just brightens everyone's timeline on Instagram. So I'm just all about these right now.
Awesome. And you did provide the handles for everyone here. So when they get this doc, they can go online and to Instagram and check them out.
Yes, please do.
Thank you, Mallory. And last but not least, we have Cara.
Hi everyone, I'm Cara. I am a culture editor at Fashion Snoops. My first link is just a link that I really hope you guys get a chance to watch later on. It's a Parks and Rec special COVID fundraising episode that they did all over Zoom. And I think just media-wise, we're seeing a lot of shows try and do the Zoom thing. SNL is trying it. You have all the late night talk shows doing it. I don't know if I've found it so captivating so far. Personally, the SNL thing is kind of ringing a little bit hollow, but I was really impressed by the way they did this and just how they were able to make content make sense and, have a little laughter in this strange time. So I hope you guys get to see that.
That's super cool. I was also reading in the New York Times this morning. It's a show I don't watch. I believe it's on one of the American networks like CBS, but it's called All Rise. It's a legal show. They completely produced and filmed an entire episode using Zoom. So they were in character and they basically made Zoom part of the episode. So I thought that was really intriguing.
Right. It really shows that creativity thrives when we have limitations.
Right.
So this is just an Instagram account that I was just so fascinated by. He makes little musical instruments inspired by nature. I really want you to try and play it. I know the sound might go wonky.
Yeah.
It's just like that for the rest of the video, but
so cute.
As you can see, his pet parrots are in the contraption. This little plant is spinning. It almost reminds me of steampunk, but like more like an eco-punk, and with everything that's going on in the news around oil and trying to figure out, if this really isn't so stable, maybe we should have new standards and what the world would look like if we had more of like eco-focused contraptions. I was fascinated by that.
Really cool. Yeah, it definitely has a very kind of green, sustainable steampunk vibe. I love it.
My final link is just a really quick, interesting, weird, one of those, those moments where you look at a technology and you're like, do I want that? Do we need this? Should we have this? This is a little robot that follows you everywhere you go and holds your stuff. So it's 50 pounds. You put your stuff in it, your car keys, wallet, book, your towel for the beach. You have it sync up to your, I believe it's your frame and your walking gait, and it just follows you everywhere you go. It is not tied to any type of GPS, and it does not have the ability to track you. So that's how they're getting around those concerns. But just thought that was a really interesting thing of how we might live our lives in 10 years. Who knows?
It's so cute. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So that is our show and tell today. I think Sarah is going to close it out for us today. But just to remind you, this webinar will be available along with the document with all the links later today on fashionsnoops.com/events. Sarah, I'll let you finish it off today.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. I'm just going to pull up our ending slides for the day. Amazing shares today, everyone. I can't wait to go and check out all the links later tonight. But, you know, after these webinars, the whole team goes through and reads all of your comments, and it's so nice seeing so many supportive messages. But one that really stuck out to us is after a show and tell, someone said, "How do you find all of these links? How do you find such varied information and inspiration?" And for us, it's our job. It's what we do. We need to stay informed. We need to find the niche and the up and coming. But we know that this can be time consuming, especially if you have a smaller team or if you're looking for information related to a specific market or topic. So at FS, we have developed an AI media tracker that is not only used by our clients, but also by us internally. And we used this technology to wire a new AI tracker specifically for news relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. And in this ever-changing landscape, our COVID-19 AI tracker is an amazing tool that pulls in articles from leading global publications to help you stay in the know. You can sort these articles by market, topics such as retail, sustainability, entertainment, or search by keyword to find exactly what you need. This is an amazing complement to any internal meeting such as this that you may have with your teams. And we also offer customized AI tracking solutions. So if you're interested in learning more, just type contact in the chat box and our team will follow up with you. And the COVID-19 AI tracker is actually part of our new COVID-19 Insights section on the FS Trend Forecasting platform. For those of you who are clients, we urge you to visit this section if you have not already. There's so much information and insight there, including our first Thrive Guide report, Act Now Priorities, which you'll see on the right of your screen. This report provides an overview of the retail landscape and the top 10 priorities that brands and retailers need to focus on now. And as I mentioned earlier, the editorial team behind this report is going to be leading our webinar tomorrow, walking you through this report and providing additional insight gleaned during their research and preparation for our Thrive Guide series. We will be holding these webinars for FS clients for several of our Thrive Guide reports. So we hope you will join us. And if you are a client, you should have received an email a little while ago containing the link to register for this webinar. And again, if you're not a client, but you're interested in gaining access to these insights and webinars, please type contact in the chat box or email us at sales@fashionsnoops.com and we can tell you more about our subscription offers, including our month-to-month program, which is available for a limited time. So again, thank you so much for joining, and we hope to see you tomorrow, FS clients, and everyone, we hope to see you again on Friday for our Q&A session. We'll keep the chat box open for a few more minutes. If you have any other questions or any other thoughts to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. So thank you again, and thank you, FS team, as always.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Take care.